Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about what two metrics you should be looking at in case you're just starting out and you're kind of overwhelmed by the Google Ads interface. Um, these two metrics are not the only ones you should be looking at. Of course, there's a lot of other metrics that are important, and but this is kind of a video that I wanted to make just because when I know I started out, there's a lot of data, there's a lot of numbers, and you kind of don't know what you should be looking at, what's like an average, what's a good, metric or a number. And so we're gonna go a little bit into that and kind of more on the beginner side. So if you're just getting started, this video is really gonna be super helpful. So for that, I ask you to please subscribe and hit the like button. But for without further ado, let's get started. So the two metrics that you should kind of start looking at and go from there would be CTR and conversion rate. So CTR is your click-through rate, and as you can see here on the left, I kind of did a quick summary. It measures how often your ad is clicked after it has been viewed. So we have, if you're looking at the graph, we have CTR in the middle, and on to the left of that we have impressions and clicks. So if you're getting clicks, 124, if we're looking at the very top row, 124 divided by 412 impressions, that gives you a click-through rate of 30%. And back over here on the left with your definition, the things to look at that are relevant to click-through rate would be your keywords, would be the search terms triggered by those keywords, and your ad copy, which includes, ad extensions and so on. So this is kind of like the summary for click-through rate. And now let's move over to conversion rate, which would occur after click-through rate, right? After someone clicks, conversion rate is more on your landing page. So this measures how often your paid traffic completes a desired action. So a conversion is a desired action or a goal. It could be someone landing on your website and clicking your call button, so making a call, or someone submitting a form, and so on, right? So the things that are relevant with conversion rate would be optimizing your landing page, where the user clicking on your ad lands on your website. And also, it's very important and very relevant to the previous steps. So if you're looking at conversion rate, it all doesn't matter only on your landing page, but also back with your keywords, search terms, and ad copy, and being relevant to that. So we're gonna go over all of this in the upcoming slides. So let's move forward. So now we're gonna start with looking at click-through rate. And if you're very observant, you probably noticed that the very top row has a super high click-through rate. And this is kind of the things that I was kind of confused starting out. You're looking at all these numbers; they're averaging about 4 or 5%, but then you see 30%, and you're kind of confused. So this, for example, is because it's a branded campaign. So in this case, we're looking at the campaign level. So each row is a different campaign. So the top row is a branding campaign, meaning that someone is searching for your brand, and that's why it's a very high click-through rate. Most of the times there's little to no competition, or it's an existing customer, or they heard about your brand, so that's why a lot of people click on your ad after searching it. So we're kind of gonna ignore the branding campaigns just because that's a whole other topic. But other than that, the rows under this, they're all kind of divided in campaigns by the services that this brand offers. And bear with me, this is only a screenshot. I didn't want to go inside of Google Ads just because I would have to blur a lot of information, and so I'm going to try and explain it as best as possible. So another thing to note here is that these are all search campaigns. In Google you can do display campaigns and video campaigns. So for example, if you're also running a display campaign, you might notice that the click-through rate is going to be very, very low, under 1%, as well as the same with conversion rate. This is not always the case, but just so you're aware, a very high click-through rate might mean a branded campaign. A very, very low click-through rate might mean a display campaign. But you just want to make sure and get more information on each campaign because every account is different. So I've boxed some of the click-through rates here in different colors. We have here the first one that's a green box. This is a 6.81%, which I would say it's higher than the average. Maybe an average is more on the 3% kind of side. But a quick thing to note here is that you also want to base it off the number of clicks. Because let's say it's a 3% click-through rate. You need 100 clicks to get, or I'm sorry, you need 100 impressions to get 3 clicks. So you kind of want to, not get the data really quick, just because you want to get enough data so that it's a little unbiased and it'll be more true moving forward. So that's why I always like basing click-through rate when the campaign has gotten around 100 clicks. So the top one has 91 clicks, looking at the green box, and it has a 6.81%. So in my opinion, this is a decent campaign in terms of click-through rate. And if you have similar campaigns to this one, you would want to see how the keywords, the search terms, and your ad copy is performing and kind of base your other campaigns with this one. And then moving forward to this yellow box, hopefully you can see the color yellow. But here it's a 3.55%, so it's about half of the other one. However, like I'm saying, this one only has 13 clicks, so it's still learning. And kind of an insight on this campaign, opposite of branding campaign, this is actually a competitor's campaign. So you want to be, a little careful when bidding with competitors, just because people, there's some people that just click the first ad that's on top. So if someone is searching for your competitor and you land on top, they may be clicking on your ad thinking it's your competitor. And so you always want to be careful here and kind of measure the data as always, and know if you should continue with this campaign or pause it. But in this instance, my analysis is to wait to see, as more clicks come in, how the click-through rate goes about changing. And then at the very bottom, you'll see a 3.03% boxed in the color orange, which I would say it's worse than yellow, but not. So we have here 3.03%, and this one is a perfect example when I'm talking about getting enough data. So here we have already a little over 100 clicks, and like I said before, typically an average click-through rate is 3%. So I guess you would say this is an average campaign in terms of performance, but this is definitely something that you want to look into. You already have enough data in terms of search terms, and you want to try and improve this 3%. And like I said before, kind of look into this top one that's green and kind of see if you can mirror it as closely as possible. Of course, it's a different service as well. So now we're going to move into conversion rate. Now, like I said, this is a step after click-through rate, but in the next slide, we're going to kind of combine both and how you can look at scenarios and such. So here, again at the top, we have a yellow box. This is 2.20%. Like I said, with click-through rate, you might see that an average is 3%. And conversion rate, you're maybe seeing an average between 1 and 2%. So 2.20%, that's a little higher than the average. So I marked it in yellow just because we're still not at that 100 click mark. So here I would kind of wait until I get a little bit more clicks. Maybe I get an extra conversion, and if not, go from there, right? Moving down to the orange one, we see that it's 1.69%. So this is a little, I would say, on over the average. Again, I'm basing this off of only having 59 clicks. So this is something that I would look into and kind of note the difference between this landing page and the 2.20% landing page and go from there. Now moving down to the very bottom, this is a very obvious red box, 0% conversion rate, meaning that after you've gotten 103 clicks here at the very bottom, we see that there's 0 conversions. And this you would see, is there something wrong with the landing page? If there is, you kind of want to scroll through it yourself, maybe ask someone that you know, and kind of go back with the ad copy and see if it kind of makes sense throughout the whole journey. So when it's conversion rate, you don't only want to assume it's something wrong with the landing page. It may be starting with even your keywords. So for example, you might have a decent click-through rate, meaning that the keyword and the ad copy and the search term, they're all relevant, but maybe this doesn't translate into the landing page. So you want to make sure and kind of look at everything as a whole. And lastly here we have a couple of scenarios taking into account click-through rate and conversion rate. So here at the very top one we have a yellow one, meaning that we can probably improve in the conversion rate. The click-through rate seems fairly good in my opinion, but here it's kind of like eyeing it out, and maybe once it hits 100 clicks we'll see if we need to tweak conversion rate, meaning the landing page, and kind of do a walkthrough like I said before, starting with your keywords all the way to the end landing page. And then the bottom scenario here we have an average click-through rate and a 0% conversion rate. So this is a big eye-opener. Here we have 100 clicks, which is enough data. Depending on how much each click is, if it's $5 per click, on average you spend $500 and have had no conversions. So depending on how new this campaign is, or how tight your budget is, you definitely want to be looking into scenarios like this. So that's it for this video, guys. This one was kind of a video that I've been wanting to do ever since I started, because I know it's difficult at first to see which metrics to look at, but hopefully this is a good starting point for you. Again, looking into click-through rate, conversion rate, and then going from there. These are definitely not the only 2 metrics you should be looking at, but in my opinion, it's a great starting point. So thank you, and see you again in the next one.